This is David Kroodsma with Hub Culture. I'm joined today by Doug Boucher, who is the Director of Climate Research and Analysis at the Union of Concerned Scientists. Thanks for joining us, Doug.
Thank you, David.
Doug, in the past few years, we've seen an erosion in the number of Americans who believe in climate science, and it's the job of the Union of Concerned Science to communicate climate science to the public. How do you feel about this, and why do you think this is true?
There's clearly been a backlash against climate science, and we've seen it most clearly in the Tea Party representatives elected most recently. I don't think we should overestimate the loss of understanding or belief in climate change when, for example, in California, people were given the chance to vote on their cap and trade law to deal with climate change. In the last election, they voted 61 to 38% in favor of it, despite a strong oil company campaign against it. But there's no doubt there has been a backlash. There have been some errors that scientists have made, such as in the IPCC report, the leaking of the emails, which show various scientists saying nasty things and acting like human beings generally do, especially on emails. Yeah. That hurt. And
as Union of Concerned Scientists, have you changed at all how you're communicating this issue in the past few years?
I think we are focusing, first of all, we're focusing a lot more on outreach to the public, not just talking to members of Congress and staff and international negotiators, but talking to the American people a lot. That's really important.
And why is it so important that scientists talk to the public on this issue?
Because I think we cannot take it for granted that people will simply take the fact of climate change on faith. We have to explain not only, the overwhelming majority of scientists think it's happening, but here's why we think it's happening. We've got to, have the respect for people that says, we believe that you deserve to hear a logical argument and not just we're all in agreement on this, trust us.
And what sort of initiatives do you have going forward in terms of trying to communicate these issues with policymakers and the public, and even here with decision makers at COP16?
Yeah, we're doing a lot of work on a couple specific issues having to do with climate change. Not only on the overall goal in terms of reducing emissions, having major cuts in fossil fuel burning, but also some important specific questions. I work, for example, on tropical deforestation, where there have been major successes in the last few years, and getting out the success stories, I think, is just as important as the reasons to be concerned.
And what's one of your favorite success stories?
Well, actually, the biggest one has just been announced in the last couple of weeks. Brazil, over the last 5 years, with financial support from Norway, has reduced tropical deforestation in the Amazon by 2/3. That's the biggest contribution of any country to reducing emissions anywhere in the world. That's bigger than any of the industrialized countries have done. And of course, that's enormous benefits in terms of preserving biodiversity, in terms of sustainable development. So I think that really shows that this can be done, and that some countries anyhow are moving ahead and are doing it.
Great. Well, Doug, thank you so much.
Thank you, David.
I'm David Kroodsma with Hub Culture, joined by Dr. Doug Boucher, the Director of Climate Change Research and Analysis at the Union of Concerned Scientists.